The Tea Biz podcast delivers tea news that you need to know. A recap of the week's major headlines with commentary and cultural trends hosted by Dan Bolton. It is the voice of origin for tea professionals and enthusiasts worldwide.
Weekly, the Tea Biz podcast and Tea Biz Blog offer business insights on the news that most impacts the tea industry. Paired with Tea Journey magazine for tea enthusiasts, the Tea Biz portal is a global resource providing nuanced coverage for everyone who loves tea. Hello, everyone. Here are this week's headlines. AVPA names Teas of the World winners. Entries are up 21% to more than 300 contestants, including several from less well-known origins. India lifts a tea blending ban. Falling tea leaf prices distress Assam smallholders. Plus, Nishchal Banskota, founder of the Nepal Tea Collective, shares his vision of a public benefit corporation that shifts the focus to creating value for every stakeholder in tea, not just shareholders. And now, a word from our sponsor.
What makes a perfect cup of Ceylon tea? The perfect cup is from the tea businesses that ensure the protection of all the children living within their tea estates. We salute Kailani Valley, Talawakili, Bogawantalawa, Harana, and Elliptia tea estates. Support Save the Children, Sri Lanka.
Competitors earned 25 gourmet gold, 36 silver, and 34 bronze medals in the 5th Teas of the World International Contest in Paris last week. The competition awarded 95 medals in 2 broad categories: monovarietal teas and infusions, blends, and scented teas. Entries increased by 33% to more than 300 from 25 countries, including several less well-known origins. Winners were announced during an online event on October 13th that featured videos by grateful growers who introduced themselves and their gardens, teas, and strikingly scenic terroir. Taiwan dominated the Camellia sinensis categories, collectively earning 8 of 17 gold medals. Chinese growers earned 4 gold medals, followed by Vietnam with 2. The Wang family tea and Shanlinji Mountain, Taiwan, received gold medals for 2 of its oolongs, and Hambin Oolong Tea in Fujian, China, was also awarded 2 gold medals. Oolongs once again dominated as jury favorites, but white teas also did well, with gold medals awarded to Le Labyrinthine and Champthy for Tea Blanc Imperial and to Jazzberry white tea in Ilam, Nepal, as well as Milky Way white tea by Fumocha Tea in Mioli, Taiwan. Karim Badri chaired this year's juries. Quote, "We are very happy to have been given the opportunity to taste teas with different personalities and characteristics," she said in the celebration video. Entries from Peru, Colombia, Laos, Cambodia, France, and Ukraine demonstrated the expanding geographical boundaries of tea production. Tisanes and scented teas were awarded 8 gold medals. The Nepal Tea Collective in New York struck gold with its lemongrass infusion, and Satemwa in Malawi, Africa, won gold for its lemon verbena. Bidakau in Colombia, South America, was awarded a gold medal for its caramel chamomile, and L'Autre Tea in France received a gold medal for its smoky chai. French tea retailer Nishchal was awarded gold for the scented Harmonie, and Shibenjian Oolong in Miaoli, Taiwan, earned gold for its Moke Ooh La La in the scented tea category. Biz Insight. Juries for this year's contest were chaired by Karim Badri, who explained the judging process. Tea and herbal specialists and professional tasters First, confirm the classification and then evaluate the gastronomic and sensory properties of the samples to determine which best move through the preliminary round. Teas and tisanes that advance are considered for a medal. Visit the website en.avpa.fr for a complete list of winners. Tea tensions between Nepal and India eased somewhat this week as India lifted a ban on blending Nepali tea imports with domestically grown Darjeeling tea. In November 2021, India halted the practice of blending Himalayan origins with geographic indicator-protected Darjeeling teas. The decision led to increased costs. Major buyers, including Tata Tea, stopped bidding on Darjeeling teas for their popular Tata Gold brand, a blend that is not marketed as Darjeeling. Tata previously purchased 1 million kilos a year, about 15% of Darjeeling's output, but switched to sources in Nepal and Sri Lanka due to the ban. The price paid for Darjeeling tea, a composite of direct sale and auction prices, fell from an average 600 rupees in 2021 to around 400 rupees this year, about $4.85 per kilo in U.S. dollars. Growers in Nepal expressed relief. Mahesh Aral, treasurer of Sharyoda Tea Producers Association in Ilam, told the Kathmandu Post, quote, "It's a welcome decision for Nepali tea traders. The move may ease exports of our products to India now," end quote. India is the largest buyer of Nepal tea, which is exported duty-free. Production has fallen in Darjeeling, which produces around 7 million kilos annually, of which 3 to 4 million is consumed by domestic tea drinkers. Demand in export markets, such as Japan, has declined. Anshuman Kanoria, who owns 2 Darjeeling tea gardens, told the Hindustan Times that the solution is to increase demand. "Of course, we must protect the GI and take action on free entry of Nepal tea to India," he said, "but this should not penalize buyers who support Darjeeling." India's parliament is still considering an anti-dumping duty ranging from 40 to 100% to discourage entry of low-quality tea. Aryal, the Producers Association spokesman in Nepal, said, quote, "The latest decision is positive, but in the long run, Nepali authorities need to make efforts to export Nepali tea to third countries by establishing its distinct identity," end quote. Assam's Ministry for Commerce met this week to address worsening conditions at tea estates. A draft tea policy contains recommendations for replacing aging plants and worn-out machinery, providing financial support to encourage local consumption at tea boutiques, funds for marketing at trade fairs, and subsidies and new sustainability recommendations for certifications attesting to improved quality. According to a spokesman for the Tea Association of India, the most important task is to increase per capita consumption in the domestic market. There are more than 1 million tea workers at 850 Assam estates and many more smallholders growing tea that is processed at Botley factories. Tea Biz correspondent Roopak Goswami in Assam provides an in-depth look at conditions voiced by smallholders who are paid only 12 to 16 rupees, about 15 cents per kilo U.S. One smallholder told Goswami, quote, "The only way for the survival of small tea growers is to have our own identity, for which we will have to have our own factories where we can get good prices," end quote. Read his report in this week's Tea Biz Blog. Arvinda Anantharama in Bengaluru reports on this week's tea auction prices.
India Tea Price Report for the week ending October 15th, 2022. This week, there was a new notification from the Tea Board of India allowing retailers to blend imported tea with Indian teas that are protected by the GI. This effectively reverses the prohibition issued in November 2021, which had been in response to concerns about adulteration of Darjeeling tea with Nepal tea. Consequently, a large volume of tea remained unsold in the auctions, as Tata Consumer Products Limited, one of the biggest buyers of Darjeeling tea in the domestic market, had stopped purchasing Darjeeling tea, which goes into their Tata Gold packs. An estimated 1 million kilos of Darjeeling tea, which is about 15% of Darjeeling's annual production, is bought by Tata Consumer Products. Now, under the new order, a GI tea that is blended with an imported tea cannot claim the GI label. In auctions, in CL41, Kolkata saw good demand for orthodox CTC and dust grades. Middle East and CIS countries were active for orthodox grades, while blenders were active for dust. Darjeeling continued to see muted sales as Tata Consumer Products stayed away. However, Hindustan Unilever was active for Darjeeling, but average prices remained below 500 rupees per kilo. Guwahati also saw good demand for both dust and leaf grades. Major blenders were active and prices were slightly higher than the previous week. In the south, A.V. Thomas was active for dust at Cochin. And in Kannur, both orthodox and CTC grades did well, with over 80% of the offering sold.
More in a minute, but first, this important message.
Hello, I'm Bogdan, a passionate tea drinker and the inventor of the ultimate tea machine, the Brew Maker 1. Preparation is key to making fine tea. Sequential steepings deliver the best taste possible and unlock the true value of whole leaf teas and botanicals. Brew automates that process without using any pots or capsules. This simple-to-operate, smartphone-controlled device stores steeping profiles to consistently make great tea at the push of a button. Brew also reduces time, waste, and energy. That's because I engineered the brew to remember control settings for temperature, brewing time, and quantity. Using my patented process lets you stack steep simply and conveniently.
This week, Tea Biz travels to New York, where Nishchal Banskota, founder of the Nepal Tea Collective, shares his vision of a public benefit corporation that shifts the focus to creating value for every stakeholder in tea, in addition to shareholder dividends. In 2015, after graduating college in the United States, Nishchal, who grew up near Ilm, farming Nepal's first certified organic food garden, returned to open the BG Tea Bar, the first tea bar in Kathmandu. A year later, following a devastating 7.8 magnitude earthquake, he launched Nepal Tea, which has since grown in sales and reputation. Banskota says that he is committed to creating tech-enabled, transparently traded tea. His venture produced award-winning Himalayan teas, sustainably sourced and packaged, bringing jobs to the tea lands that paid double the prevailing wage. Teas are shipped directly to consumers worldwide. Every handmade package is labeled with a QR code that enables buyers to meet the growers at one of 3 tea farms. The omnichannel business earns high gross margins selling wholesale and packaged tea. 1% of revenue is reinvested in farming communities, and a tea sapling is planted for every order, 10,000 in 2022. Banskota is currently seeking investors on WeFunder with a goal of $600,000. The money will be used to extend the brand to include organic botanicals, make the company's supply chain more sustainable, and construct infrastructure for visiting tea tourists. A 3-year goal is to build a modern packaging and fulfillment center in Nepal. The campaign is nearing $200,000. The minimum investment is $250. Nishchal Banskota, Nepal Tea's founder and a tea pioneer's son, joins us today on the Tea Biz podcast.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. Honored to be on your podcast.
Tell us about your initial inspiration for the company and, more importantly, how it has evolved.
So the whole idea or the inspiration that really came for me to get into the tea industry in general when I started 6 years ago was just a story of my father and how this leaf, Camellia sinensis, was able to transform a village into a thriving community. And that tea as a catalyst for social change. So that's how I started in 2016. I vividly remember being on a booth and trying to bring teas from our family farm and, presenting it to people. And it's been 6 years. And all I can say is every year we've gotten better response from people from all around the world. And it has been amazing to see the impact that we have made just on our family farm and other smallholder farmers. In January 2022, what we decided was a crucial step towards what we envision our bigger mission in the tea industry will be. And so we converted to a public benefit corporation. Day one, when I started the company, it was much more than money-making business that I had always envisioned. It was a lot more about impact and how we can really help the producers, the farmers who are almost invisible to the consumers. My personal goal in this whole tea industry is to really get 1 million farmers out of poverty within their generation and within my lifetime. So I'm 30 now, so I hopefully have enough years in my life to be able to get to that number. On the charter of the company, we said we're not only going to be responsible for creating value for the shareholders. Rather than that, we will be responsible, or we look forward to, creating value for all the stakeholders. So we just literally changed one word in our company charter from creating value for shareholders with the word stakeholders. And stakeholders mean every single farmer that is going to be supplying even a kilo of leaf to us. We took our mission one step further to put it into actionable items. So 1% of our top line revenue is directly going to the farmers themselves. I know it could be thought of as a very small amount, but that gesture itself is going to help all of these producers. The people that supply teas to us are not just going to be suppliers. They're going to be partners in the whole complete business. The more we sell, the more they get. And the more they get, they're going to invest that into creating better products. So we're going to buy it at a better price and sell even more of that. So at the end of the day, it creates a cycle where they create value for us and we create value for them, and really create the sustainable relationships with the producers and also the consumers. We want to set the standard for ourselves so high that even we will be accountable in such a way that every single year we're going to publish what we did, how we did it, and what that impact was exactly on our website. So everything is going to be completely transparent and traceable. We are making our lives difficult in a way by doing all of this because we believe in it so much that the tea industry has not been too fair to the producers and the farmers, and we want to change that.
Nishchal, you were born in Nepal and you've lived and worked on a tea farm for much of your life. Will you tell our listeners about the beauty of Nepal and why it's such a great place to grow tea?
Yeah, so Nepal itself is really the country of the Himalayas, and at the same time, the geography that where the tea grows and which is obviously expanding, that really has that microclimate that is absolutely suitable for production of high quality teas. The winds coming out from the mountains and really from the Bay of Bengal really create very volatile environment in which the tea plants actually really thrive, and that really creates a very nice environment for the tea plants to really create a lot of flavors. And it's not just that, but the tea plants, which are obviously much younger, really also help in terms of really creating a distinct flavors for the teas that are grown in Nepal. One of the most interesting things that I have found is the passion of the tea maker, and the tea makers are young. when you think about tea makers, you think about, generations, like years and years, decades of experience and all of that. But one thing which is quite different in Nepal itself is the tea makers are super young. In fact, the tea maker in our family farm is 22 years old right now. He's one of the youngest tea makers in Nepal, and still is able to get the guidance from all of the, the traditional tea making guidance, but at the same time is not at all hesitant to experiment with what can be done to these leaves. So they're experimenting with a lot of different types of leaf. And the testament towards the quality of that is the awards that it has been winning in many parts of the world. In fact, just yesterday, 6 of our teas, which were made by all these young tea makers, won awards in the AVPA contest. So there were 6 awards that were won by our geography. So all in all, to summarize, the climate itself really creates a very good environment for the production of the tea itself, just the pristine environment, and how all of these tea farmers, they're not cultivating teas in a form of a very corporate structure. They're all taking care of these tea bushes just as they would as their child, in a way. So they're really taking care of these bushes. The young tea makers are experimenting with what is the best way to create the highest quality teas in there. And plus, just the organic way of cultivation that has been there for, years, that just favors the quality of the teas that are produced in the country.
To realize your vision will take additional resources from outside investors, and ultimately, it will take an organization that is more capable of producing results than during the initial startup phase. You've done remarkable work over the last 6 years. Now it makes sense to bring additional investors on board. Will you explain the mechanism so that others can help you to realize your vision?
Yeah. When my father started the first organic tea garden in Nepal, it was also a vision that was almost unheard of in the 90s. And then, slowly just a lot of people picked it up. And at the same time, today it's thought of as the ideal model in the village that has completely transformed the community. I want to be able to do that, replicate that model in a way that is favorable for the whole country. In a lot of ways, and a lot of other smallholder farmers. So it is actually going to take a lot of investments, a lot of expertise, a lot of young energy to really get to that vision of really fulfilling the dream of the collective. What we have done is really connect all of these consumers all around the world to actually be investors in the dream. So, and that is also one of the easiest ways we have found to really bring the consumers together to connect the consumers to the producers themselves. So now Nepal Tea Collective is actually opening up investments in the company itself from any single person around the world. It's an equity crowdfunding model that we're raising our funds through. You can go to wefunder.com/Nepal Tea Collective. Any person around the world can literally start with $250 to actually invest in the company. Our goal is big. So what we envision to do is really be able to create a complete fulfillment center in the southern part of the country and be able to collect a lot of different teas from many different geographies on the hilly areas and also in the Tarai, the southern part of the country, bring it to a fulfillment center, consolidate all of that, and really be able to store it properly, package it properly, add all of those value in Nepal itself, generating employment, generating revenues for the country itself, and be able to leverage the logistics through Amazon and Shopify and a lot of just leverage tech in general to be able to sell globally, to be able to create this identity for Nepal and Nepali teas in general. I envision a world where anybody living anywhere in the world can just go to our website and be able to order teas directly from the source and know at the same time where that tea is coming from, when was it plucked, how was it made, who are the people behind these teas, and all of that kind of stuff. We want tea companies, we want tea lovers, we want anybody who drinks tea to become a part of this. And at the same time, organizations that we are already starting talks with is people who really want to see impact on the ground. So impact funds, non-governmental agencies, all of them, when all of us come together, I think that's when the beauty begins and really creates value for not just the tea industry. This will be a model for all of the agricultural products that are coming out of the country.
Intrigued by what you heard in today's podcast? Would you like to learn more from our global network of Tea Biz journalists and tea experts? Remember to visit the Tea Biz website for more comprehensive coverage. That's www.t-biz.com. Thanks for listening. Farewell till next week.